What's up, y'all? Let's do a little progress update on the Mean Machine. So when you first saw it, it was just all one color, but it needed some repairs, and I gutted the interior and had to remove quite a few layers of JB Weld, epoxy, fiberglass from the tunnel. I got it down to the original layer and put on an inlay, as you can see. Had to do a lot of sanding, a lot of touch up on the bottom of the hull. I'll show you here. To fill that, this was where the stuffing tube was, so I filled that. So, of course, as I'm sanding, you can see a lot of the glass, the threads here, so a lot of sanding there. I trued up the pads, sharpened them. But anyway, as I was sanding, as you can see, it uncovered this beautiful, well, I don't know how beautiful it was when it was all one color, but there's this blue with white specks. So I started sanding more to expose more of it, and you could really see how many layers there were. On this side, it was red with white specks. So it was a red, white, and blue theme. So some un-American asshole painted over it. But you can see here how many layers of paint. This is the original gel coat. There was a silver. Then there was yellow. Then it got painted silver again. Then it got painted red. So that red is the same layer as this blue. Because you can see here the red with the specks, and again you can see the different colors. And then it got painted like a metallic gray, and then white, and then I think the gray was a backer, and then a white, and then this red. So they kind of did it the right way, but they didn't, because there were runs everywhere. That's where most of the sanding started. But it's going to stay like this. I'm going to shoot some clear over it. I've already finished sanded it up to 400 grit. And can't tell now, but it looks sharp when it's wet. So that means when it's got some clear on it, it's going to look really good. So let's see what we did back here. The transom, if you remember, had a ton of holes in it. It had been re-drilled 5 times. So I basically cut off the whole back end. I didn't cut it off, I grinded it off. Just enough to remove the overhang from this shoebox type method of construction. Because remember, the rear, it overhung a little bit just from the lid of the boat. So what I'm going to do now is, what I need to do is I need to figure out if I'm going to make this a twin or a single. So on these Mean Machines, people do make them twins. They are a little bit tedious because the stingers, they typically encroach up on the area here where the top half is, where it extends. There's a little bit of a shelf here, like this. This right here is a shelf. When these boats are made, there's a bottom half and a top half. The top half overlaps onto the bottom half like a shoebox. Anyway, so without that shelf back here, that ledge, or that raised surface, I have this entire area to play with. So I could do twins. I may still do a single, but it looks pretty sharp, and it is literally sharp. You always want a sharp trailing edge on any wetted surface. So the idea is that when water's running off of it, it has a clean, sharp corner to break off. It'll just break off. Now, if you have a rounded edge, the water will wrap up around the rounded edge before it comes up, and then it'll break off. So that movement right there, where the water curls up the edge of a rounded corner, a bevel, that is drag. That is definitely drag. So every trailing edge here is razor sharp. Maybe not razor, but as sharp as you can get from a 90 degree. I did round off all of these edges so they're nice and smooth, but I think it looks pretty sharp. Just gonna shoot some clear over it. It's gonna really pop with the clear. It's really dull right now because of that. It's got I profiled it for the clear with 400 grit on the whole boat. Like, this color is really nice. This gray is actually really nice. This, if you guys remember, this was really popular in the 90s, the splatter paint job. So anyway, that's the update. Like I said, I still haven't decided if I want to do twins or singles, so let me know what you guys think. I have a single already for P Limited. I can make another one, maybe sell my original trash can, or just have two of them. I don't know. If I make this a twin, it'll really just be a fun boat, a for me boat, which that's not that big of a deal. I mean, it is cool. I do want to race it, but if I don't race it, it's fine. I just like the character and the build. Oh, so I also, you can't see it, but let's see. All the way up front there is epoxy. So I poured epoxy in the tips all the way to here. So it actually bridges across the front seam here. So the front seam has a small layer of epoxy up here, right about here. So this is pure epoxy. Adds a little bit of weight, adds a lot of strength for when people want to get physical with you on the racetrack. I do have some weights in the front too. I added, I think, 3/4 ounce here and 3/4 ounce there. So it's gonna have a nice balance to it. Yeah, everybody's always wanting to make their boats super light, but you know what? Sometimes you gotta add weight to these boats. We're going a lot faster than these hulls were designed to do. So you gotta stabilize them. And by adding weight to the front, so a lot of people, they add weight to the front of their cats to keep the front down, but they do that to get their CG forward, which on my boats, I never adjust the CG. I don't adjust CG for water conditions or for weather or for anything like that. Once I set the CG, it never changes. So the reason I add the weight in the front is just to spread the weight out on the boat. Now here's the theory. I call it the ballerina effect. So if you think of a ballerina, she's twirling. When she spreads her arms out, she slows down, right? As she's spinning. When she brings her arms together, as she's spinning, she spins a lot faster. So your moment of inertia is much closer to the axis, so it's easier to spin. When you have the weight further out, it's harder to spin. So the theory, it's not a theory, it's a science. Put the weight up front, and let's say your axis for your pitch is right here in the middle. By putting the weight further out, it's going to resist the boat wanting to come up, because that's more weight that it has to accelerate upwards to get it to blow over. So add the weight in the front. I also add weight in the corners, because same theory. Spread the weight out low and wide, like let's say your batteries. So that way, as your boat's going like this, that weight here and here, remember your axis is right here, it's going to resist the boat wanting to do this, because it has a lot more weight that it has to accelerate, right? So it just stabilizes the boat on both axes, or I guess you could consider it all three axes. So on boat builds, I try to put the batteries on a twin. I'll put the batteries down here, actually in any cat. Batteries down there, because you want the center of gravity low, but also it spreads the weight out wide. And you'll see the same thing on my monos. I try not to put the batteries in the V. I put the batteries on the sides. But anyway, that's your little boat setup tip for the day. Check out my other boats. I posted plenty of pictures on social media under the hatches, and you'll see that my setups, they always have the weight spread out. A lot of, I hate to see it, but it's whatever. A lot of people, they try to centralize all the weight right here in the middle. Now that's excellent in the car. So this one. This car here, all the weight you want in the middle, right? Or like in the Mini Cooper. The wheels are further out to the corners and all the weight is in the center. So what that means is, let's say this is the car, it rotates very quickly. It responds very quickly because it can rotate on its axis very quickly. There's no weight resisting it. So you do that in a boat. Okay, yeah, the theory, well, you put all your weight here. Let's say you put your batteries up top and you put your speed controllers here or something like that. Or what I see most commonly is, okay, so they put the motors up here. And I would put mine over here, okay? They put it here, they put the batteries there, and the ESC's here. All the weight is right here. So what that's gonna do is, the boat's gonna wanna do this all the time, or it's just gonna do that. Because, look, here's a good visualization. As I'm doing this, that mass of all the electronics, it's not really moving. It's staying right here, right? But the rest of the boat can do whatever it wants because it has no weight, right? So if I add corner weights here, I put the motors here, batteries here, ESCs here, weight in the front. Now the weight is all spread out and it's going to be a lot more stable. So my other Mean Machine trash can, it's a fast boat. It does 75 in oval trim and P limited, and it's hard to beat. I give it up in a little bit in the corners because it doesn't handle as well as like a Lucas Oil, a Motley Crue, or Cheetahs don't really do well in P limited because the hulls are just too big for the speeds we're going, and the motors, the size of the motors are pretty small. But anyway, my Mean Machine, it's fast. And there's a couple other Mean Machines in the club, and yeah, they're fast on the straightaways, but not trash can fast, and they're definitely not as good in the corners. So anyway, yeah, that's it for now. I'm gonna try to shoot some clear on it this weekend, and hopefully I have a finished product, like at least exterior wise, for the next update. And hopefully by then I'll have decided on what I'm gonna do on the inside here. So leave a comment, let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching.